Sorry about that. I had been through therapy, and to me, it helped me a lot. And so, part of my coming online to talk about this was to Miss Carrie is on, so I'm gonna bring Miss Carrie up. Okay, while she's coming on, I'm going to continue. So, part of the reason starting this was to help people know they are not alone. We all have ways that we struggle emotionally, spiritually, financially, and everything. We all have, actually, I was just talking to someone close to me a couple of minutes ago. We are all going through something and we deal with things on a different level and differently. Some people may think, well, I don't have anybody that I can trust. And so I hold on to my feelings, I hold on to my emotions and all that. And that's okay. That's how you are dealing with your struggles. But part of starting this conversation was to normalize the talk about mental health. That it's okay to feel the way you're feeling. It's okay to seek help when you need to. It's okay to tell somebody that I'm struggling and I need help. And so that was the main reason we started this conversation. Of course, like I mentioned, this was started December the 10th. And after that talk, we had an incident with Twitch. And so when Twitch incidents came up, I did post on social media that this is what I've started the week before that. And I'm inviting people to come out and talk. And so of course, the feedback that I received was just massive. People who were willing to come out and share their stories. Of course, some they shared their stories and it was amazing. And I asked them if they were willing to come online to share with others, to let others know they are not the only people going through whatever struggle it is, and also to give them hope, to give some kind of encouragement. Now, disclaimer, I am not a professional licensed therapist. I'm not a counselor. Of course, I'm a social worker. And so when I come online, whatever I share is based on my experience with therapy, my experience with counseling, my experience with, thank you, my experience with depression, anxiety, and whatever I have been through, or whatever my clients have been through. That's what I'm sharing. And so, and of course, some people who are willing to speak may be professionals. If they are professionals, I'm going to share their information as well, so you'll be able to reach out and seek help from them if they are available. Like I mentioned, December the 10th, Dr. Shedrick came on. And so her information is on our first video. Now, when I do come online with these speakers, we're going to post the video. I'll record and post on all websites. I do have Twitter, Instagram, of course, Facebook, and also YouTube. So we'll cross post this video. So if you watch later, you'll be able to see what we talk about. And you are welcome to come share your story as well. If you know somebody who is willing to share their story, they can always reach out to me. I'll post a link for them to reach out on top of this video where they can schedule a time to come speak. So thank you so much, Miss Carrie. Of course, Miss Carrie was one of those who responded and wanted to share her story. Like I said, we are not professionals, but we want to share our story to let everybody know it's okay to seek help and that whatever you're going through now, you're not going through it alone and that there's help out there. So you can always reach out. But thank you so much, Miss Carrie, for your interest in sharing your story with us. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, then go into your story?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. I'm living with schizophrenic, bipolar. That's office medications.
Mm,
Um, because of the laws, or the way, not the laws, because I read the laws, and the laws are there to protect
mm-hmm,
mental illness, and I understand that. But they're also hindering people with mental illness from being able to get the proper care to get back on track.
mm,
So in my case, my son does well on his meds when he's on them. He has every year, probably about this time, we go through a phase where he stops taking them. When he stops taking them, he's totally just almost obnoxious and difficult to deal with. Because of the way the laws are being interpreted, um, he can't be just, well, he can, but it depends on the police officer that comes out that if he could be 52. Some of the things that we go through in here with him are at least 2, 3 times a week. The gas on the stove is left on purposely, with no ignition. He won't take baths, and he talks to himself or whoever, whatever's in his mind, outwardly and very loudly, fighting with them, talking to them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Um, I don't know if anybody has ever lived with somebody with this kind of condition, but it's taxing and it's toll on everybody involved. Not to mention that we're sleeping behind locked doors because we also get
mm,
threatened 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Um, when I called a couple of, about a year or two ago, may have been last year, he lit all the eyes on the stove, and not the eyes, just the gas.
mm,
And I was, called for assistance, and it was given. That, and I guess it's up to the people, like I said, it's left up to the police officers who are not mental health specialists
mm.
to come out and determine whether he's a danger to himself or others. Um, I kind of reached out to you because it's kind of driving me a little bonkers, because I'm like, is it me, or I'm not understanding what's going on, because lighting the gas on the stove, all of them, all 6 of them, and just sitting there while smoking a cigarette, if that's not a danger to himself or others, I don't understand what is. So they did take him in last year, but then they hounded me to take him back, and hadn't had him for a day or two. So I'm like, well, have you done anything with him? Well, I mean, ma'am, he's his own person. Like, okay, but you see that he's not capable of making decisions. When I say that I don't want to put him on social media, it's embarrassing.
Mhm.
But when I say he's not with us, I mean it. Like, he'll stop and answer questions for you, but then he's right back just in another zone. So, like I said, during these times, we're getting threatened. I can go from being a devil bitch that he's gonna kill to him talking to a voice saying, "No, man, you can't kill my mother."
Wow.
So, huh?
I'm
Go ahead.
listening.
So, I mean, eh, I don't know. I'm just at my wits' end. For one, that law, I understand they're there to protect people with mental health, but who's protecting the people that's trying to protect them?
Mm, that's the question.
It's me
Wow.
and my 3 daughter. It's me and my 2 daughters and my grandbaby in this house. And like I said, we sleep behind locked doors because we don't know what he's capable of doing. I would love to believe that my son would never hurt me. But when I dealt with my son, who was emotionally stable, I could say that. But this son that I may hear as I walk past him, say, there's that devil bitch. She may have to die if she don't stay out my business.
Mm.
Stuff like that. And this is on a daily basis.
So, Miss Carrie, I'm not sure if you heard when I first started that, of course, I've worked with clients with schizophrenia, and I've seen some of these behaviors. So I have an idea of what it looks like when they get off medication and when they start exhibiting these behaviors. Now, my concern is, like you said, of course, he is off his medication or he has been given medication which controls these behaviors. But what happens to the caretakers? And I
Yes.
think that's a big question. What happened to the caretakers? Who is protecting you?
Yeah, exactly. And the funny, I do well. I also deal with clients with schizophrenia. I deal with clients with psychosis. But I don't have to close my eyes on them. I don't have to turn, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to be the focus of their attention, negative or positive. It's so much unsurety in my house right now. It's tormenting. And it's like there's no help because everybody's worried about protecting rights that the law has not given him, because the law clearly states if he's unable to make sound decisions for himself, then he can be 52 or whatever that is, involuntarily committed for treatment. I
Yes,
am I am trying to do the three-party involuntary commitment right now, but that's even turning out to be a joke.
yes, I heard that.
So
Yes.
it's ridiculous. So, and my question to the officers are, well, sir, I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to allow him to stay in my house in this condition. So if you guys can't help him, I can't help him. Who's gonna help him?
Mm.
And if I put him out and lock the doors, well, mind you, that might be the end of me. Trying to get him out my house. It's
Of
below zero.
course,
I
of
don't want
course. And actually, just when you just said that the first word that came to my mind was neglect.
that. Yeah,
You will be charged with neglect. But when you
but he's
cried out seeking help because of your safety, nobody is there to help.
yeah, he's 26 years old.
And
Used to
like
be
you
a
said,
straight A.
he's
he-
an adult, so of course they term it as well. If he doesn't want to take the medication, you can't force him to take it. He has to make his own decisions. At the same time, this person cannot make decisions for himself. He doesn't have the right state of mind to make those
yeah.
decisions for himself. It makes it very difficult. I've been
And
in that situation with clients, and it was yes, yes. I
yeah.
know what you're talking about.
And it's real, it's sad because I know that my son only needs 3 or 4 days in the hospital for them to to reevaluate him for his medications and get him back on track, and he'll go for a couple of months.
Mm,
I'm not asking for help for the couple of months that he can go, because we were just planning on him getting his own apartment. We were just planning on him, getting a job again, and all this other stuff before he stopped taking his meds and took up marijuana. So now he's back to non-functioning, and we're stuck in this house with a person who we might as well say we're stuck in this house with a powder keg, because we don't know when he's gonna blow.
mm.
Because it's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
Miss Carey, what state are you in?
I'm in Wisconsin.
Okay. So is he seeing somebody, a private person, or going to mental health?
He's seeing well, I have a psychiatrist friend, and he's been trying to deal with him, whereas he will come to the house, he will do anything he can to see him, and he was going along with it as long as he was on his medications. But as soon as like I said, he dropped the medications and took up the marijuana, And I called him. I said, well, you have to call him at least so we can get a so that you can get a phone conference with him to get your meds. And he hung up on him.
Mm.
So I'm not gonna have him come to the house and my son is hostile towards him.
Yeah. With him being an adult, it makes it very difficult. And like you said, you can't, with an adult, you can't commit him to an institution or anywhere else just because he has to go involuntary. It's just unfortunate. But that's what the law states. It's just unfortunate. But I think,
So I'm well, I you know what, I'm ready to fight. This law needs to be changed. Something has to be done so that our loved ones are cared for, because you go from a point to here's a person that can be cared for, and that's part of the law. They have
mhm,
to be treatable. Here's a person that is at this point treatable. Okay, so I have a choice of letting him remain this way until he just goes totally manic, um, does something crazy to either us or himself. And either that's going to be a charge where they're trying to lock him up in the prison system, and all the help is out the door, because in Wisconsin, prison and the penal system and the mental health system don't go together.
mhm,
And I told VA a long time ago they should, because people are not committing crimes because they're totally sane. So a lot of people just need help. And this is at the point, I feel like if he was getting that help, like I said, we're fine up until the point he decides to rebel against the medications. And his psychiatrist was saying, well, maybe the meds, give him some kind of side effect he doesn't
mhm.
like. Tell him to call me. We'll get him another med. Well, he's no longer in that situation. So he has to be re he needs in-house services now. And I don't understand that. My biggest problem is that me asking for him to have in-house services, the first answer I get is, oh, well, you can't violate his rights. I'm like, excuse me?
Wow. Yeah.
Excuse me. Well, we can't violate his right. Like, no, there's a law out there that says if he's incapable of making his own decisions, that you can place him in involuntary commitment. And it's like nobody wants to touch it,
Yeah.
but
That's
it's
just
their job.
unfortunate.
It's their job. It's the Milwaukee Police Department's job to make sure that I'm safe.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that sometimes well, they'll wait till something drastic happens before they take action. It's
Yeah.
just
And,
unfortunate. So, Ms.
and then
Kelly,
they tell you, go ahead, go ahead.
so what are you doing to take care of your mental health, though? Because I know this is a lot and it can be very consuming, very tiring. So, what are you doing to take care of yourself?
It's difficult. Uh, I am kind of breaking down
Mm,
because I've dealt with mental health so long. I kind of know how to contain myself. I kind of know how to hold on. I don't hold anything back. Everybody know my situation. This is not a quiet little family thing. I discuss with other people options and stuff. Um, I'm getting ready to go on the letter writing campaign and send letters to anybody that will listen, because something has to be done.
it does.
I've seen people, we just had a 10-year-old boy here that shot his mother in the face. And I'm like,
Mm,
you know, I'm sure she was asking for help, you know, but it's a hush hush thing, and it shouldn't be, because in our state, they're throwing mental health out on the street. So that's what my profession is. I take these people, get them housing, and try to help them live, within the communities. So with my son, most of the programs here will not take him because he's only mental health. He does not have an other underlying factor like a heart disease or something like that. They won't just take mental health people into these programs. And, so we can get him housing and get him out there on his own and have people come visit him so that he
Mm-hmm.
can, get his meds. And, then if he's not taking his meds, the sheriff will get involved. These are the people that can get me into court with him. But these are the people that can't even touch him right now.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate how the laws. It's not just mental health. Anything when people cry out for help, they don't get it till something drastic happen, and that's when they start doing all these investigations. Oh, what could we have done, or what? But when the person was crying out, nobody reached out, and
Yeah,
it's just
nobody.
unfortunate that that's what our society is today.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you have a church family, sisterhood, or something that I'm glad
yeah.
you're talking about this, but I think you need people around you that can give you some kind of support as well, because I know this can be a lot on your plate.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of support. I make sure I keep a support system.
That's
I
good.
take care of a lot of people, and in return, a lot of people take care of me. So,
That's
um,
good.
like I said, I trust me. I'm treading very lightly with my own sanity because today was a bad day for me. You
Mm,
I had to redirect myself and woosai, and I'm also trying to raise my 3-year-old granddaughter, and 3-year-olds are hectic, especially for a 54-year-old like myself. So
I can
it's like,
imagine.
yeah, it's daunting. It really is.
Well,
But
my hat's off to you. I know, like I said, I've been in that field. I'm a social worker, and I've seen those behaviors from juveniles to adults. I've seen how tragic it can get when we don't have a handle on it. So I know what you're going through.
and see, that's another thing I worry about too, because I get a lot of people saying, "Well, just put him out your house." Okay, for one, when I did put him out my house years ago, he was banging on my windows at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, waking up the neighborhood. He's gonna always come back to me because I've always been his
Mm-hmm.
pillar, you know. So then on top of that, I'm like, my heart wouldn't be able to handle that I'm putting my son out in below zero weather, which is gonna not only trigger his mental illness, but it's gonna trigger now he's desperate. So who's gonna get it? Who is he gonna rob? Who is he gonna hurt? Who is where's what kind of survival skills are gonna kick in,
Mm-hmm.
and what's he gonna do to try to survive? So now that's on my head because it could be the old lady next door, you know, could be some lady walking down the street or getting out
Mm-hmm.
her car going into her house. You know, you don't add desperate to mental health.
That's true. That's so true. Well, I'm glad you came out to share your story, Miss Carey, because I know you're not the only person. Um,
Yeah,
of course, there are mothers out there dealing with the same thing, and they've been frustrated. They just sick and tired because
yeah,
basically they're taking care of a child who has mental illness, and they don't have any outlet. They feel like they don't have any help for themselves, and I know that can be hard. Just having your own mental issues is hard. So having another to take care of another person is just times a
yes, that,
hundred. So that makes it very hard. So I'm glad you're
yeah,
sharing your story. Please keep me posted. This platform, I'm glad we're sharing this, that hopefully this may go so far that it may change some things in our society. It's not just with Wisconsin. I had a recent situation where I was trying to get services for one of my youth. And because she hasn't been hospitalized, because she hasn't been on medication, she couldn't qualify for the services.
yes,
And we can definitely see the kind of help she needs, but she doesn't qualify for services. So I'm hoping this is going to open some doors and actually get some attention of some lawmakers so some things can be put in place. We can't all commit suicide. Something needs
Yes.
to happen. And so
Yes.
if we are able to come out to ask for the help, or if we come out, we are bold enough to say we need the help, somebody needs to make sure we're getting the help that we need. So I thank you so much for sharing your story. Hopefully
That's no problem.
somebody is going to hear this and reach out to you. Like I mentioned earlier, this is going to be shared on all platforms that I'm on. So hopefully somebody is going to reach out to you. But please know that I'm here and I do hear you. I do recognize what you're going through. And so if you just need somebody to just listen or somebody to just, you need somebody to vent to, I'm always here.
Yeah. And if somebody wants to reach out to me about trying to get something better in place for our mentally ill Americans, um, they are welcome to reach out to me. I'm willing to, you know, whatever I have to do. If I got to go sit on Washington stairs, I don't care. But something has to be done.
Yes, it definitely is. Of course, mental health issue has no face, and we
Yeah.
can already tell. Even
Yeah.
those
And it's,
carrying the smiles have issues. So we don't
yes.
need to be walking around frowning, crying, or yelling.
Yes.
It has
Exactly.
no face, and so yes, whatever we can do individually to get this
Yeah.
out, we need to do that.
Well, it's funny because I deal with a lot of case managers, case workers, and sometimes I say, well, uh, some of the people taking care of some of the people don't know they need help too. It's like you never know who it is, and but I've been around it all my life, with family, friends, um I've just been around mental health. So I'm very patient with mental health, but it's, like I said, it's in my home. My home is usually my place where I close the door and
Mm.
away from everything else.
It's
But it's
it's
here.
funny, yeah. It's funny you mentioned that as social workers or as social services workers, like you said, it's different when it's in your home. Because
Yes.
if it's not, you can deal with it in the community, in the office, and leave it there.
Yeah.
But when you have to deal with it in the community and come home to it, that's different.
Yeah. Yes. It's stressful.
So, yes, I hear that. I hear that. Well, thank
So
you so much, yeah, for
if
sharing this.
you know anybody on this forum format that would like to get with me, like I said, I'm gonna start a letter writing campaign, and I have the letter I sent you. I've been just sending it off everywhere, um, to see if I can get any hits on it. My cousin just recommended a local news person that she knows, but I'm not ready for that, but I'll get there. It's
Well,
just
let me know when you're ready.
okay.
Yes, let me know when you're ready. When I first posted this, of course, as I mentioned earlier, I started this talk about normalizing talks about mental health December 10th. And of course, right after it, we had Trace issue. And when I posted inviting people to come on this platform to speak about mental health, actually, those that reached out is just amazing. Everybody has a story. And I was just telling somebody, everybody is going through something.
Yes,
It's just
definitely,
amazing. Everybody is going through something. And we don't
definitely.
speak about it because, of course, one person said, as African Americans, we've been taught to suck it up. Of course,
Oh yeah,
I have issues, so and you have your own issues. I don't need to bring what's on my plate onto your plate. So then we tend to sit idle, harbor all these things, and eventually kills us because we
yes,
just holding on to it. And
yes. That's
so when you're ready, let me know. It's women and men out there that want to speak out, want this addressed. And I know they will rally behind you to make sure something is done. So just let
oh,
me know.
I will.
Yeah,
I
just let me
definitely will.
know. We will be praying with you too. Hopefully something comes out of this. but also on his good days, try to see if he has somebody that he favors, maybe somebody that he likes, who he may be able to listen to. Sometimes just, of
And
course,
see,
as a
how
social worker, I can't say manipulating, but sometimes that's what you have to do to get people help.
but that's the scary part. He is starting to um he's relying on nothing but voices. He's starting to introvert. He's not talking to his friends or anything.
Mm,
Uh, yes, so that's when it really becomes, and being a case manager, that's when it really gets hectic when they start. What do you call it?
yeah, voices.
Solid, yeah, and start cutting themselves off.
Mm, yeah, isolation, because
Yeah,
you never know what is going through their mind.
yep,
You never know.
yeah. So yeah,
I know it's hard. Hang in there, and let us see
I would.
what we can do. We can do to support.
Okay, well, I appreciate you letting me express myself. That
Yes,
helps.
ma'am. Please, thank you. Of course, thank you for
Oh,
coming on here to share your story. And I know people
okay,
will be reaching out to you for support as well.
okay, and I thank you too. Bye.
All right, Miss Karen. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. So, as you heard, and as I mentioned, we have a lot of people going through, me included. We all have our issues. We all have something that we're going through. And so sharing our stories is always going to encourage somebody else that they are not alone. They're not going through this by themselves. It's always good to speak up. It's always good to reach out for help. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I got this and I got that, but it's hard. And I'll be the first person to say mental health is a topic that we need to normalize so we'll be able to speak up. As I posted a couple of days ago, inviting people to come share their stories. It's just amazing the stories I have received. Some of them I read them and I wonder how people are still making it because it's hard. But as we share our stories, I'm hoping we'll be able to let some of those stresses and some of those guilt and some of those burdens off our chest. So, if you're interested in joining on this platform to discuss your story, we need some men to come share their stories as well. It's not always about the women. Of course, we say, or people say women are emotional, and therefore that's why we share whatever is going on with us. Men do have emotions as well, and so come speak on your emotions, come share your story, and so you can encourage somebody else with whatever they're going through. I do have a link above if you want to schedule a time to come on. Of course, I do have just Sundays open for right now. It's always going to be 6 p.m. So depending on wherever you are, it's 6 p.m. on Sunday evenings. You can always schedule a time on the calendar and I'll reach out to you before you come on. This is supposed to be a positive thing. I don't want us to come on here and share things that's going to trigger someone or cause somebody to get worse than they already are. This is just to encourage somebody to say, hey, if you're at that point that you need to reach out for help, you need to. And there are people that are always willing to listen. I'm available. I tell people I may be a stranger, but it's always best. Sometimes it's best when you go to a stranger to express yourself because we tend to not tell people around us for the fear of being judged or being looked down upon. Or just saying, oh, just stop your pity party and move on with life. I'm a stranger. I'm not going to judge you. So if you need to reach out to me, you can always do. Thank you for tuning in. I've been traveling since 3 a.m. this morning, so kind of tired. I'm going to wrap this up. But thank you. Hope to see you next Sunday.